What if the guy that many people call the greatest basketball player of all time played now in your generation? How dominant will he be? How devastating will he be? And just how much will he have a stranglehold on today's NBA? So let's get into it and talk about the man, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the GOAT, greatest of all times, like LL Cool J would say.
Okay, so you constantly hear me say you cannot take something new, bring it to the past, and expect it to operate the same way. Okay, that's because things that are new, okay, you can't bring it to the past because it didn't exist back then. Okay, but you could always take something from the past, upgrade it, and give it more pixels, give it more HD, make it 4K, remake it just like a video game. So the same thing applies to sports, because if you take a player like Michael Jordan and you put him in today's league, keep in mind he will be original with his own skill set, a skill set nobody never seen before. Okay, and he will be bringing his athletic ability, his speed, all of that to today's game with his original skill set, just waiting to be discovered, and you guys would be part of that to experience it. Now, the biggest difference will be there won't be no necessary roughness, okay? There won't be no kicks to the grind. There won't be no bloody lips. There won't be no NFL style getting beat up on. So he will have freedom to do whatever he pleased to do on a basketball court, especially when it pertains to scoring, because this league went to the guard level, okay? It went to favoring perimeter players. So if you could score, you will have a field day in this era. Now, take in mind, you got a guy like Michael Jordan, right? He could play defense and he could score, all right? And in his day, he played in an era that was more rougher, but was still able to get 10 scoring titles, 5 MVPs, okay? A Defensive Player of the Year award, all right? All of these accolades will be doubled if he played in today's league.
Very hard to go out there and score 30-plus points a night, right, you know, in the NBA back then.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Where and the still game be asked to guard the toughest guy.
Yeah, when the game was physical and you can, you know, really get into your guy and put your hands on them, and you know, the fear of them coming down the lane against us, you know, back whatever game you playing against, you know, it was just totally different. It was just a different game.
37 when you can get beat up, no 3 seconds, hand checks, all that. You know what I mean? Like, now, if you hit somebody like that, you suspended 10 games.
What type of numbers you think he's putting up if he's playing today?
Man, Jordan averaging 45 and whatever else he wants. Because, like, you can't touch nobody. Like, you can't hand check.
Yeah, for sure.
No hand check. You playing 6'6" guys at center. Like, the league is totally different, so I'm not knocking it, but it's just, if you can't score right now and get a bucket one-on-one, then you don't belong in basketball. Right. That's what a lot of people pride themselves off of, just go get a one-on-one bucket now.
Yeah.
There's no, like, you don't really have to shoot around no more. Like, there's no plays to go over. There's no system to run.
Now, that's John Wall telling you in today's NBA, they don't even run plays, okay? That's how messed up it is in certain occasions. And you got today's players like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, who mentally give in to a guy like Michael Jordan. Just imagine what Jordan would be doing to them. Somebody better call 911, because if Jordan was playing today, he'll look like a bully compared to what he'd be doing to a lot of these mentally weak stars.
How physical the game was back then. You pretty much get put on your back every time you went to the bucket. Now all of a sudden somebody blows on your wrist or hits your hand, that's a foul? Like, so, yeah, even though he would have taken more threes if he lived in today's age, still his mid-range game was on point. His skill level, he still will be considered one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled in the league today. I think, I don't know 75%, but he'll be averaging in the 40s for sure.
With what the league has gone for, with the amount of space, with the lack of physical contact on ball handlers, on guys finishing at the rim, there is absolutely no question in my mind that Michael Jordan would lead the league in scoring every single year, and he probably would be somewhere around 40 a night because the one thing you could do to him, you could try at least, was to try to get into his body. I mean, I was a guy I used my physical strength as an advantage because the guy was so quick. You could at least try to dictate where he was going to go with physical contact 30 feet from the rim. And then, my goodness, I usually had 2 bouncers at the club in the lane behind me ready to beat him up if he got in there. Now, it's no contact on the perimeter. Nobody's coming to lay you out. They're worried about the instant replays, ejections, flagrant 2s. None of that stuff existed. So to put him in a court today with as competitive as he was, as tough as he was, as skilled, as quick, there's no doubt in my mind Michael Jordan would lead the league in scoring.
It's like 8.5, 8.8 free throw attempts per game. So that's at least gonna double. That's close to 20 per game in today's age. And also, pace and space. Think about how physical the game was back then. You pretty much get put on your back every time you went to the bucket. Now all of a sudden somebody blows on your wrist or hits your hand, that's a foul. Even though he would have taken more threes if he lived in today's age, still his mid-range game was on point. His skill level, he still will be considered one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled in the.
Why, you ask? Just for the simple fact that if he could have 10 scoring titles in an era that defense was 50-50, it wasn't handcuffed like how it is now, where offense kind of outbeats defense a lot in today's league, especially in the past generation. They're only starting to clamp down on offensive players a little bit. You get to the free throw line by just blowing on somebody. Michael Jordan would not only be the best player in basketball, but from the tongue sticking out to the knee cover on one leg, he'll be completely unique and something different that the NBA has never seen. A transcendent basketball player. And he would easily become the best player in basketball. Okay? He would be ranked the best, greatest basketball player of this era. Better than LeBron, better than Giannis, better than all them dudes. And the funny part about it is, if you take this into notion, there's 3 players that body some traits of Michael Jordan. One is Kobe Bryant with the killer instinct, the Mamba mentality, the attitude, which is very similar to Mike, but times 2, because Mike was more competitive than Kobe Bryant and more tougher as well. Then there's a second guy that reminds you of Michael Jordan a lot. That's Kawhi Leonard. From the palming the ball with his hands, they almost have the same hand size. Their defensive tenacity is almost the same. And if Michael played in this era, he would have more Defensive Player of the Year awards. And Kawhi Leonard's ability to pick spots on the floor, to hit certain shots, reminds me of Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was very calculated in his scoring. All right? He was very fundamentally sound. Kobe Bryant would tell you that as well. So that would also make him unstoppable, because he put flash to something that was very fundamental. Okay? And then there come, what about today's players? They shoot a lot of threes. Well, guess what? You got another guy I'm about to mention, DeMar DeRozan. Okay, he just going on a 6-game tear. Got the Chicago Bulls number 2 in their conference. But he's coming off 6 games averaging 35, 38, 40, 36. Okay? And this guy don't shoot that much threes. Kawhi Leonard don't shoot that much threes. But when healthy, Kawhi Leonard is considered the best player in basketball. Now, all of these 3 guys, combine them all up together, all right? And you still don't get Michael Jordan. You get some of him. And he goes times 2 on all of those guys. So just imagine what he'd do in today's era. I really feel bad for some of you guys that didn't get to watch the Michael Jordan era, because he would easily be the best player in basketball. Okay, he doesn't come with the mental weakness that a LeBron James have. He was mentally strong out the gate, and that competitive nature would be there. That work ethic would be there, all right, which is totally unmatched. The only guy that I could think of that matches Michael Jordan's work ethic is the guy that I mentioned. It's Kobe Bryant, okay? So
physicality in today's game isn't the same, and one of the things that you didn't acknowledge, all NBA defense. he will be getting steals. He will be getting out in transition, catching lobs, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, and also getting to the free throw line. In the NBA Finals in the early 90s, he scored 63 in the 80s versus the great Boston Celtics. And yes, there are a handful of great defensive teams in today's game. The Bucks, both teams in LA, the Toronto Raptors. But you know what else it is, Greeny? A lot of bottom feeders. So say against the great teams, he would average 40, no doubt. Against the bad teams, the lottery teams, he would definitely average 50 again.
Not only will Michael Jordan be the greatest basketball player of this era, okay, he's the only shooting guard in NBA history to average around 30 and shoot over 50% from the field. So just imagine what he would do in an era where you can't knock him on his ass. Average centers are like 6'6", 6'8", okay? Positionless league where all you have to do is beat your man off the dribble and you got a free layup or a dunk. Michael Jordan will have a field day in today's era of basketball. And the way he plays basketball is more exciting than a LeBron James, a Giannis Antetokounmpo. So you will automatically gravitate towards Michael Jordan more than you gravitate towards the LeBron James in them. Those guys would be second nature. There have been guys that, yeah, they're good, but they can't get past Mike. That's what they have been. Okay, so that leaves us with one question left. Individual accolades are great, and Michael Jordan would have got those probably times 2. You know, more MVPs, more scoring titles, more a little bit of everything. But the big elephant in the room, individual titles are great, individual accolades are great, but does that equal to winning for Michael Jordan in today's era? Well, I put it like this. If Kawhi Leonard could win championships, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Golden State Warriors, with a team that they just drafted, there's no doubt in my mind Michael Jordan could win championships in this generation. He probably have, being the player that he is, he probably have 8 championships in this generation, okay? And he probably would do it in a more stunning fashion. Knowing the guy that he is, he wouldn't join no super team, okay? He wouldn't stack the deck. But what he will have around him is a good team. Take this Chicago Bulls team more recently with the DeMar DeRozans, the Lonzo Balls, Zach LaVines. You add a Michael Jordan to a team like that, oh my God, that could be dangerous because they're already the number 2 seed. So just imagine what you do with a guy like Michael Jordan. He could very well take him to the top like Kawhi did to the Toronto Raptors. So there's no doubt in my mind he'll win chips. And he'll be doing it in the most dominant, stunning fashion, more than any player that you could see, even in today's league. Prince Sports out. Peace. R.I.P. to Harry Richardson, my grandfather, who passed away at the age of 92 years old. He was a great guy that had great knowledge of sports. You know, Oscar Robertson was his guy until he seen Michael Jordan. He probably changed his mind a little bit. And R.I.P.